my name is Maya, and I'm obsessed about my sweater. But anyway, welcome to the episode 19 of the Mila's Tinks knitting podcast, where I share all my thoughts, process, and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Sorry. So today is the 13th of March 2023, and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, where I live with my gecko. And you can find me on Instagram at milais.tinks, and you can find links of everything I talk about in the description box below, as well as my measurements if you are interested. It's difficult to stay focused. Sorry, I'm just so amazed by what I did. Yeah, anyway, sorry. So for today, the program, obviously I have a finished object I am wearing and very happy about. I also have I have one other finished object that you haven't seen because I have cast on and finished it since the last episode, as I sometimes do apparently. And I have two other new cast-ons that you haven't seen before either, so it's gonna be interesting today. And as you can maybe tell, we have a little bit of a change in the point of view because we are having a weird weather today. It's just very overcast, but also there is something that happens sometimes in Europe where basically there is a lot of wind that comes from the northern part of Africa that picks up sand in the desert and then it travels across the sea and then it ends up in the sky in Europe. So we have a weird yellow lighting happening. I'm not sure it was the case this morning. It's kind of starting to wear out, but then for a few hours we get like a very ominous and strange yellow lighting, and it's also very dark. So usually I'm filming back there, but it was a little bit too dark, so I'm trying this angle for today and we will see how it goes. I really don't like this lamp, so it's why I'm not doing this usually, but yeah, we're gonna have to do it with it for now. Anyway, so let's get into it. First, what I'm wearing, which is the Woodruff turtleneck by Celine Phaeton, and it's a fitted sweater with a turtleneck, as the name implies. And yeah, it took me a whole month to knit and I'm so happy with the result. So the yarn I use is Woolberry Fiber Company's Berry Natural Base, which is a fingering weight 100% Merino non-superwash yarn in the colorway Nook, which is a pre-order from last year. So I have had this yarn in my stash for 3 years. I had 3 skeins. I don't have the leftover here. And yeah, I'm super happy to have finally used it. I didn't buy the skeins for this project in particular, but it took me a while to finally let go of the other project I had in mind, to finally decide to do something else, and now it's done, out of my stash. I'm super pleased. It's perfect. So, I have been talking about this one in the last 2 episodes, so I'm not going to repeat the stuff I've already said. So if you're interested in the sizing speech, you can go watch episode 17, I think. I will put it up here. And if you want to have details about the sleeve caps modifications, the turtleneck modifications, and the gauge issues, whatever I had, you can go watch the latest episode, which is the 18. It will also be up here. So I'm not gonna repeat all of that, but I have some new stuff to talk about for this one, so let's get into it. As I kind of always have to do with my sweaters, I had to knit the sleeve twice, which is a pain because this is fingering weight, and even though it's a slim, like it's a fitted sleeve, it's still a lot of stitches and a lot of rows, so it took a long time, but good thing I love sleeves, so I mean I love knitting sleeves. So basically I had to do the sleeve cap twice because I didn't really like the first way I didn't really like the size I had picked, because the sleeve is designed to be positive ease and I preferred negative ease. So I had to redo the whole shaping because the sweater is not designed to have negative ease. And also I am very athletic, so I have big arms because I have biceps. So it's a little bit tricky to do a fitted sleeve because I have bicep, but also my forearm is almost as big as my bicep. So it's just super weird. So the first time I think I did gradual decreases, and by gradual I mean gradual. I think I had like 17 rows between the first two increases up here, and then I had 16 rows, 15, 14, 13. I think I stopped at 11 and then I did every 11 rows, 11th rows. But it was too tight. It was fine on the elbow, but then it got super tight around the forearm. I think I took a picture when I had done the new sleeve next to the old one. So you can maybe kind of tell that the fabric is more stretched on one sleeve. But the thing is, I have more muscles on my left arm than my right. I just have more power in this arm than this one. So this one is actually bigger than this one. So it's even trickier than just finding the correct shaping for one sleeve because it's different for the other. So it's actually difficult to see because the right arm on the picture is the one that had the smaller shaping. And on the left arm I did a bigger, I didn't do any decreases on this section, and then I did decreases every 15th row here. I didn't change anything for here. So yeah, I took a picture to show the evidence of how it was tighter on the first sleeve than on the second, but actually it's difficult to see because both arms are not the same size, but yeah, anyway, welcome to my life. So yeah, I knit the first new sleeves on the the left arm, and then I proceeded to repeat the same instructions on the right arm. And at this moment I still didn't remember that both my arms are different, because I know it, but I just forget, because it's just not something that's always in my mind. And when I arrived around this part, before doing the cuff, I counted my stitches and I was like, I'm missing 2. So I started counting back to see where I was missing, where did I do the mistake to get 2 less stitches, and it was probably up here. But then I remembered that this arm is actually smaller, so perfect. Good thing that I had less stitches here anyway, so the fit is actually the same on both arms, even though this sleeve is a little bit smaller. But yeah, I'm talking about 2 stitches, and this gauge is like 25 stitches or 26 per 10 centimeters, so it's really not a big deal. But I'm very perfectionist, and I would have been capable of ripping out the sleeve to get the 2 stitches back wherever I had made the mistake. But I didn't, because my arms are not symmetrical anyway, so everything's fine. Calm down. Yeah, so that's it for the sleeves. I also think, yeah, the first cuff was too tight, because as you can see there is a motif here happening, and the motif is like a certain amount of stitches, and if you want to repeat the motif around the whole cuff, you have to have a multiple of the number of stitches that are in the motif, which is a big number. So it's either the cuff is too tight or the cuff is loose, because I was like kind of in the middle, because I decided to use full twisted rib instead of half twisted rib, because half twisted rib tends to bias, and the collar is actually in half twisted rib and it's biasing, but I don't see it, so I don't care. But the cuff I'm gonna see, so I really wanted it to be straight, so I changed it to full twisted rib, but then my gauge in this stitch is very very tight, which is probably why the smaller stitch count is too small for my cuff, even though I have very small wrist. So yeah, it's still a bit tight, but as I said, the first cuff was too tight, but for the second one I had learned from my mistake at least, and I added 6 stitches, because I have 3 repeats of the chart around the wrist, and I have added 2 stitches, so 1 purl column and 1 knit column between each repeat of the chart, which is visible because those 2 are supposed to connect the same way they connect in the middle here. but I have added a column here, and I think it looks perfectly fine. And at least now I have a little bit more room, so I'm happy. And the other thing is that I didn't change the needle size from the arm. I used 3mm, and you're supposed to go down to 2.5, and I stuck to the 3mm for the cuff. Yeah, it's details really. I don't think anybody cares, but that's what I did, because yeah, I was having trouble with the fit here. Another modification I did is I added body shaping, so maybe you can tell here there is a line of decreases, and actually if I take this out of my skirt so you can see the bottom, I have decreases along here and then I have increases back there, so that it really hugs my figure perfectly. And yeah, I just wanted something really fitting. And I have also modified the hem, because you're supposed to have the same twisted rib with a chart along here, but since I knew I would be having this tuck inside the skirt or the pant 100% of the time, there was just no need for me to go through the twisted rib and the cabling section, so I just did a folded hem, which looks seamless, and yeah, it was just more suited for my kind of wearing style for this kind of garment. For the yarn color, I did alternate skeins, because the first one was a little bit lighter. I don't think you can really tell on the camera, but this section is a little bit lighter than the other two I had. And there is a little bit of pulling here, but I don't really care. So I did some helical knitting, kind of. I'm doing a weird backwards helical knitting, but yeah, it doesn't matter. The result is the same. And I actually happened to... I thought this was the back, so I continued doing the helical knitting, but actually it was the front. So I'm not sure you can tell, but there is a line happening from... Oh, it's on this side? I don't know. There is a line on one side, either this one or this one. It's difficult to see with the light, but yeah, you can definitely tell in some lights. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. And the thing that's kind of upsetting is that I have no idea why I did the helical knitting, because actually when I change skeins at one vertical jog, it's seamless because I'm just good at it and you cannot tell. So I did it on one sleeve, it's here. You can kind of tell because there is a fold when I blocked it, but other than that you can't tell there is a jog line from when I alternated the skeins. So why did I do the helical knitting across the front to leave a mark across my chest when I could have just done the jog on the side? I have no idea, but it's too late now. It's a little bit annoying, but yeah, all my fault. Whatever. Regarding the yarn, I mentioned I had a little bit of leftovers, so I used 3 skeins. But the skeins you buy from Woolberry are usually bigger than 100 grams. They are 110 usually, pretty consistently 110 grams. So I had 330 grams and I have 27 grams left over, which means I used 300 grams. But I did mix and match different sizes, so the top part, the shoulder and yoke section is size 8. The sleeves caps are... I started with size 4, so the arm size is size 4, but the sleeve caps in itself are even smaller than size 1 because I did my own thing, but yeah, whatever. And the bust is size 2. So I had enough yarn to do just a plain size 2, I mean regarding the meterage that was given in the pattern. But then I wasn't sure what was going to happen if I had to do size 8 for the shoulders. And at the beginning I wasn't sure, I didn't know yet I would be doing fitted sleeves instead of positive V sleeves. And I think if I had to do the positive V sleeves, I definitely wouldn't have had enough yarn. So I'm glad I decided to do them smaller. And I also think if I hadn't done the body shaping, I think I would have run out. Also, if I had decided to do the ribbing and the cabling at the hem. Yeah, I'm just glad I took all these decisions to make the garment smaller in the end, so that I ended up with having enough yarn, because it would have been terrible if I run out at some point. But it didn't happen, so everything's fine. Yeah. I probably have put up a video at some point where I'm showing you how it moves, especially on the back. The fit on the back is perfect, like chef's kiss. I'm so happy I decided to go with a super big size for the shoulders. The only issue I would mention is that it's my fault, because I knew my back was big and I knew my front would be smaller, but I was afraid to really go small enough for the front, and now I have a little bit of extra fabric. You can tell here there are some creases happening, and that's because I have just too much fabric on the front. If I had done, I have done a little bit of decreases here, and I have cast on less stitches for the collar here, so it is already smaller than the size 8 I have on the back, but I could have done a little bit further, and it would also help with the line here. That would be a little bit more to the inside, and it would just be a little bit better, but it's fine. It's okay. At least I'm not constricted in any way in my movements, so it's fine. I can live with that. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this one. Super happy, super proud. It was definitely hard because I did so many modifications. I didn't mention all of them today, of course, but I have modified all the short rolls on the shoulders, on the back neck, and I have completely changed the sleeve caps, the pickup rate. I have changed a lot of stuff. But yeah, it was all for the best, and now it's perfect. My next finished object is, as I mentioned, one that I have cast on and finished since the last episode. It was actually a panic cast on because we went to the cinema with my boyfriend on last weekend, and I was knitting on this one, and I was actually to the point where I had finished one sleeve, and I was just on this section where I have a lot of rows without decreases. On the elbow section I have like this much where no shaping is happening, but I knew this was not gonna take the 3-hour movies we were gonna see. So I had, and also the body was at the stage where I had to do the decreases every few rows, so I couldn't really do the decreases in the dark in the cinema because I cannot count my rows in between the decreases, so I was kind of stuck without knitting. So I panic cast on this project, which is actually not finished because I forgot to do the last seaming job, but we will just ignore the needle. So this is kitchen towel. I have knit using cotton yarn thread, and here it is. Can you tell I love this color? Not sure. Yeah, so there is a little hoop here, or yeah, thing. And then I did 3 white stripes, and I just forgot to, I didn't have the needle with me when I was doing this, and now I just forgot to graft. But I have the 2 I-cords that are joining here on the corner, and I just wanted to graft the 6 stitches together, but apparently I forgot. So it's kind of a finished object, but not completely. Yeah, and it's not blocked yet, but it's a kitchen towel, so whatever. The pattern I used for this one is based on the Simple Stripe washcloth by Pearl Soho, but it's still very different because this one is just really a simple stripe. First, there is only 1 stripe and there is no edging or border, it's just a garter rectangle or square, and I did the I-cord edging all the way. So what I did is I cast on a 4-stitch I-cord that I knit for this long plus this long, and then so I had my needle on this side, and then I did a loop and started picking up stitches a little bit further from this. So I picked up my stitches, and then I started knitting in this direction with the I-cord on both sides, so that I wouldn't have to pick up the stitches afterwards to do the I-cord edging on the top. And then I did the I-cord bind off at the end, and I lost yarn chicken twice. Because basically when I do these, I buy 2 of those, which is the yarn, by the way, is Tissa by Lang Yarns. So it's 100% cotton yarn, it's like a DK or something, I don't even know. More like worsted, I don't know, it's cotton anyway, it's a little bit different, but yeah. I buy 2 of those, so it's 100 grams, and I just knit until I'm done with the yarn. And I kind of evaluate when I have not so much yarn left, but not too little, to do the I-cord bind off, because I just want to have the least amount possible of yarn left. What I hate is when I do the I-cord bind off and then I can see I still have enough yarn to do another garter row in the middle, so I hate it. So I tend to... I'm just trying my best to use up the more yarn I can. And I can show you a picture. The first time I did the bind off, I stopped about at the middle of the row of the bind off because I didn't have any yarn left. So I unraveled the bind off, I unraveled one more row, then I picked up the stitches again and started the bind off again. But then I was short on yarn for the 6 last stitches. I was so annoyed. So I had to unravel once again, unravel another row, and then start for the 3rd time the bind off, and this time made it, and I have this much left, which is okay, it's fine, I will survive. But yeah, since I had to do it 3 times, I didn't have the time to finish the grafting for the I-cord at the end, so that's why it's in this state. But anyway, it's over, it's finished, it's done, it's okay. The white yarn is not the same yarn, it's leftover. It's also long yarns, but it's the baby cotton, and it's very much thinner, so I'm holding this one double. And I just have a lot of it in my stash because I bought a lot of it in the beginning of my knitting journey, and I have some left, so I'm just using it when I do those kind of emergency cast-on projects. So yeah, it doesn't really have a recipient, it's probably not for me. I usually do this to gift to people for various occasions, so it's just gonna go in the gift pile that doesn't exist, so it's gonna be the only item in the gift pile for now. But yeah, that's it for this one. And in the same vein, I have actually, when I bought the yarn for this one, I have actually bought 2 other skeins, which I already showed you. One is this one, and this one is the same thread, but it has some kind of motif, colorway, fun stuff happening. So, because I just wanted to try it out, and I knew I wouldn't want to do another kitchen towel with this one. I wanted to try the pot holders that the Crazy Sock Lady has been doing. She's been doing them for a while, and I have always wanted to try them because it looks fun, it looks nice, I don't know, they look cool and easy to do and mindless, so yeah. And I like crochet too, so I wanted to try it out. And by the time I had finished the kitchen towel, I was already done with this one too, and I was just leaving to go climb. And usually when I go climb with my boyfriend, we have kind of 1 hour, about between 30 minutes to 1 hour drive, and I was like, I don't have anything to knit. What am I gonna do? Because the next big project I wanted to cast on is not one that's easy to transport, so yeah, I needed another emergency cast on, so that's why I finally cast on the pot holders from the Crazy Sock Lady, and here it is. Doesn't really look like a pot holder yet, but yeah, it's working like this, so I'm just crocheting my way on it, and this is what I have left of the first ball. I wanted to use the 2 balls in the same pot holder, but actually this size is fine, and I think I will finish this one with this, and hope I won't have too much leftovers. If I do, I'm not gonna rip this out. I would be capable of, but I won't. I will probably just cast on more stitches for the next one and just combine the 2. And the next time I buy this yarn and want to make other pot holders, I will just cast on or chain an amount of stitches that's in the middle of the 2. Whatever, nobody cares. So yeah, I really like the effect of the color. I think it looks cool. But actually I think the inside looks better for once. Usually I really don't like the back side, the wrong side of crochet, but for some reason in this case I think it looks better. Let me know what you think. It's probably linked to the fact that there is a big light green line in the middle of the right side, which I'm not really a fan of. That's not there on the wrong side, so it's probably part of that. But yeah. I mean, it's also there. Whatever. So yeah, that's my other work in progress, and I think this will be done pretty fast because yeah, I started this one yesterday and it's almost done. I think it takes a few hours to finish, so it really won't take much time, and I will be happy if I'm done with the two at the same time so that they are really identical. I'm following the pattern that the Crazy Sock Lady linked on her episodes, which is the Bev's Turn on Itself potholder. And I'm chaining 35 stitches instead of the 30 that are in the pattern, just as the Crazy Sock Lady does. But the pattern is a free pattern, so it's a little bit light on instructions, especially on what to do in the corners. After you cast on, it's just saying like change side and start crocheting on the other side, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Do I leave a hole? Do I skip stitches? Do I fold? I don't. Anyway, maybe I need a little bit of hand holding because I'm not as comfortable in crochet than knitting, but yeah, I just think it's better if I do the two one after the other, so they are really identical. That's it for my work in progress, and now I can talk about the bigger work in progress, which is actually not bigger because I have just started it this morning, so it's still at a very, very early stage. And it is the Teddy Zip by Joan Ho. Joan, I don't know. I wanted to cast this one on for a long time. I have talked about it for quite a few episodes now. I have shown you the swatch. And this is the most disgusting project bag ever. But yeah, I just needed something big to put all the yarn into it, so I ended up with this. I'm sorry. Yeah, so as I mentioned, this is the swatch. It's just the cutest swatch ever. And yeah, I have now cast on, but you will maybe tell this is supposed to be the body and those are the sleeves. I'm using 3 different colors. I will put them here. I'm too lazy to tell all the names now. But I have changed my mind for the color placement because I don't think this one looks very nice. So the darker color are usually Nutiden, unspun yarns, and I can show you the yarns, it's gonna be easier. So I'm holding Nutiden unspun yarn with those which are Filcolana Arwetta, which is a worsted weight yarn. So what I wanted to do to get to the big stitch gauge of the design is to use the unspun yarn held double and pair it with 1 strand of the Filcolana. What? Did I just say this was Arwetta? Absolutely not. Let me start over. This is Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool. What? I've never even used Arwetta. Like, I've never even owned one. I have no idea why I said that. Anyway, so this is Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool, and I'm holding 1 strand of this with 2 strands of Nutiden. And it's working well for the blue and the green. For the blue and the red. But for the green it's not working because the darkest one is the Nutiden and the green is too light and I don't like the effect. So what I'm doing is I am holding the Nutiden quadruple, so 4 strands of Nutiden for the body of the jacket, and then I will be doing each sleeve holding the yarn, the Nutiden double, with 1 strand of the Filcolana. The reason I'm doing that is because I have enough of the green to hold it quadruple for the body, and not enough of the other two, because I have other plans for those, and I don't want to play yarn chicken on the other plans I have for the yarn, because I have used everything for this one, which was not planned. This one was made to use leftovers. So that's why I chose to use the green for the body. And also because since the green is the only one I cannot really pair with the fil colana, I didn't want it to end up with like a body and a sleeve in a certain marling of yarn and then one sleeve in a different yarn. Like that would be weird, but having the body different than the sleeves is okay. So that's why I'm doing that, and I have just started the body. So I'm showing you this, but yeah. This is a jacket. Yeah, I have cast on this morning, so I'm not very far, but yeah. And I am already, so this is the fil colana, as you can tell, the colors are absolutely not matching. And yeah, as I was saying, I am absolutely not following the pattern already, even though I'm only at the beginning, because you are supposed to start with the ribbing at the bottom here, cast on there, and then do the ribbing, and then you do decreases, because you are supposed to hold only the worsted yarn in the ribbing, and then you add the fluffy yarn, because this is knit with boucle yarn. So you add the boucle yarn to the worsted weight yarn to get the super big gauge on the body, and to avoid having a ribbing that's too tight, you do a lot of decreases before switching from the ribbing to the body. But since I cannot make my mind on what I want the ribbing to be, because this yarn doesn't go well with this one, I don't want to have the ribbing in this yarn looking super weird and then the whole body in this beautiful green, and I don't want to do the ribbing with Nutiden, because the other ribbings are going to be in those fil colana, and that would look weird. I mean, maybe not, I don't know. So maybe I can do the ribbing with those, but then I'm not sure if I do the ribbing in red or in blue, or maybe I do in tarja and I do one side of the ribbing in this color and the other side in this one, and maybe it can be reversed with the sleeves, or maybe not. I have no idea. So what I ended up doing is that I skipped the instructions for the ribbing and I just cast on the number of stitches for the body, and I'm just knitting from there, so that later on I can come to the bottom, I mean for my cast on edge, pick up and do the decreases, or just pick up less and knit the ribbing on the other direction. That way I can try out different things, and if I don't like it I can just rip it off without interfering with the actual body, because it will be a pick up edge, so I can just rip off everything and just be fine and just start over with another yarn. So I think it's a pretty smart move, if I may say so myself. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that, and I'm just knitting away on the body for now. Regarding the pattern, I do have something to tell about it, because as you can see, I'm only at the beginning. I have knit maybe 6 rows, and there are already 4 different ways to tell you to repeat an instruction. Yeah, let me get the context first. You have, this is the jacket. So you have the 2 markers here that are for the pockets. It's difficult to tell on the picture, but they are actually pocket here. And so you are doing a little bit of shaping for them here. And then you are doing special stitches at both edges when you are going to put the zipper in, so you have something different to do at the edges. So, and this is knit flat, so on the right side you are knitting and on the wrong side you are purling, obviously. So there is, on the wrong side rows, you are doing the special thing on the edge and then purling all the stitches while slipping the markers. And the instructions say, do the thing, do the edge thing, purl until marker, slip marker, and this is in brackets, and then it's written twice. So you have to repeat the instruction in brackets twice, and then do the same special stitch for the end. So this is the first way it's explained. On the right side, it's written, do the special thing for the edges, knit all stitches slipping stitch markers. Like, why is it different from the purl side? Anyway. And the third way is when you do the special shaping for the pockets, then it's written, do the thing for the border, knit until the marker, do the shaping, slip marker, do the shaping, and knit until the next marker. And then it's written again, do the shaping, slip marker, do the shaping, and knit until the end. Like, why isn't this one in brackets and then written twice? Like, why is it all written out? Because this is confusing and it's difficult to read because there are a lot of instructions. Yeah, this is the third way. And the fourth one is actually when you switch from the ribbing to the actual stockinette body. This one is written with a star, then there are the decreases instructions, and then repeat from stars to stars until the end of round. Why is it not between brackets with repeat how much times or whatever? Like, I don't get it. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit nitpicky with this one, but 4 different ways to say the same repeat instructions is a little bit much for me. It has, of course, nothing to do with the design in itself, or with the end result, or with the way it's shaped, or with the technical aspects. The pattern is perfectly fine, at least I can see for now. I don't know. Maybe when I get to the shoulders there will be some issues, but we will see when I get there. But yeah, it's just in the writing style that it's a little bit confusing to me. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I cannot really... From what I have seen for now, I recommend it on a technical point of view, but maybe not in a writing style point of view. But yeah, I'm probably just being a brat, but yeah, it's just what I wanted to say about this pattern. Yeah, but I'm super, super, super excited about this one, and it's actually something I need so bad in my wardrobe. Like, I don't really own a mid-season jacket that I can wear that is big enough for me to wear over my knitted sweaters, because the only mid-season jacket I have is a very small leather jacket and the sleeves are tight, and whenever I am wearing one of my big knitted sweaters, I just can't put my arm through. So I'm like a little bit like this when I'm wearing that jacket. So yeah, I really need that one, and I have no idea, I mean, I know why, but I have been pushing this one for way too long, and every time I go out in the morning I'm like, oh, I wish I had finished my tedded zip. I wish I could wear it. But yeah, so it's on big needles, this is 6.5mm, so I hope it will go fast and I will be able to wear it before summer comes, because it's starting to warm up already. But yeah, we are probably going to have the falls, spring weather before summer actually hits, so I will get wear out of this, but yeah, whatever. I'm just extremely excited about this one and a little bit puzzled by the way the pattern is written, but it's fine. The result is the same. I can still knit merrily on this one. Yeah, so that's it for the knitting, and I don't have any acquisitions, so I don't have anything more to add. Regarding the acquisitions, I already didn't have any in the last one, and as I mentioned, next week there is the Swiss Yarn Festival that's happening in Zurich, which is basically the opposite side of the country. So of course Switzerland is small, but it's still the opposite side of the country, so I'm not exactly sure. I went last year because it was the first time for me, so it was fun to do the 3 hours of train I needed to go there. But now I'm like, yeah, I already went once, so I'm not sure I want to go to Zurich just for that. So I've been trying to find if there are any climbing crags around the area, but actually Zurich is a very flat section of the country, so there are no mountains there, so not much to climb actually. So it's been difficult to find a place in Switzerland where there is a nice climbing spot. So I've been looking around in Germany, and I did find something in the very, very, very south part of Germany, just near where the festival takes place. But I don't know anybody that's been there, so I'm not sure it's any good, because sometimes some crags are just weird spots where the climbing is not that nice. So yeah, unless someone recommends you a place, maybe it's best to not try it out on your own, because you can have some weird surprises sometimes. So yeah, I'm not convinced I'm gonna go there. I say I, but really I mean us, my boyfriend and I, because my boyfriend has a van, so we can just take the van on the Thursday night, climb on Friday, I go to the festival on Saturday, and then we climb again on Sunday and then come home and sleep in the van. Yeah, so I'm not sure I'm gonna go. Maybe if I can find someone to actually recommend me this place to climb, I will go, but yeah. In the meantime, I still haven't made my mind, which is a shame, because actually I do have quite a lot of yarn I would like to touch first before buying, because the local yarn shops I have around me have a selection of yarn, but not everything. So, and I remember from last year when I went to the festival, I did see some yarns that I am very interested in, but I didn't buy because I didn't need them at the time. But now I would like to try them out, but I'm not sure, so I want to touch them. So I would really like to go to the festival, but I don't want to go just for one day. So yeah, decisions need to be taken, made, whatever. So I probably decide the day before. If you are following me on Instagram, I'm probably going to announce there if I'm going. So if you are actually interested in maybe meeting me there, you are probably already following me on Instagram, but if you are not, you can go and give me a follow there to keep in touch. Yeah, and I think that's all for the festival. Hi, editing Maya here. I completely forgot to mention what I was teasing you for 2 episodes, which is how did it go at the climbing competition from my local bouldering gym? Well, I did make it into the finals, so I was amongst the 6 best women that went climbing during the month of March at my local gym. I was ranked 5th, I think, or 4th. Yeah, 4th. I was the 4th at the ranking. And the finals were fun. There were 2 different boulders, and I have footage of both of them. You will probably see the first one is on a slab, and it has a running start, and I am so bad at running anything on a wall. I am super bad at coordinating moves, so yeah, that was a tricky one. Basically, it took me 17 attempts to finally catch the first handhold. And the other woman had kind of the also struggles, but I was definitely one of the worst. But I think 2 of them never catched the first hold, so I was still better than those 2. No, 1 didn't catch the first hold. And the second boulder was on a very overhanging wall, and this one was funny because the first section was okay. I think 5 of us made it to the first key hold. It's the zone hold, it's called. It's the first one that gives you points. So 5 of us made it first try to the first zone hold, and none of us ever made it past this hold because it was so hard. Sometimes, yeah, it's difficult for route setters to actually put... they don't really know who is going to climb. In this case, they knew in advance, but they cannot really set a boulder that's really appropriate for the climbers, so they have to still make something that's really universal and in the general difficulty. And here it was just the guy that set the boulder. He's usually doing some super weird moves that he's kind of good at it, but most people are not. And this was definitely a super weird move. We'll probably see it in the footage, but yeah, it was super far. We had to kind of jump while holding super bad handholds, and it was very overhanging. So yeah, it was just too difficult, and nobody made it past this hold. So this boulder was kind of useless because we all made the same amount of points on this one because we all touched the first zone hold in the same number of attempts. So the only thing that really divided us was the first one with the running jump, and I ended up in the 4th place, which is the same ranking that I made it into the finals in. I was barely not on the podium because the woman that got the 3rd place on the podium, she did the running start with only 13 tries, and I did it in 17 tries, so she beat me on that. So yeah, I unfortunately didn't get any prize for this one. I got a t-shirt at least, but yeah, I didn't make it on the podium. But I still tried the boulder a few days later, and I did really understand how the running jump was working, and then I managed to do the rest of the route pretty easily. The rest of the route is really my style, so it was easy for me. However, the last move is a super scary jump. Like, you really have to jump when you are 3 meters above the ground, and it's very scary, and I almost killed myself while trying to do it. So unfortunately, I never topped this one, even after the competition. But yeah, at least I'm still alive, which is good. So yeah, that's it for the news on the climbing competition. And that's all I wanted to add. So I will let you go back to the video, and yeah, happy knitting. Oh, I just have one funny thing. It's a really small thing, but yesterday I went climbing, as always, and we did meet with some of my boyfriend's friends. We are not supposed to go there with them, but they were just there, so we started chatting for a bit. And then suddenly one of them turned to me and he said, "Maya, yes? Your boyfriend told me that you are knitting socks." And I said, "Yes, I would really love to get a pair." I was like, what? That was so out of the blue. But yeah, it was super cute because actually he has a lot of hand-knit socks that I think his grandmother or somebody knit for him, and he just loves wearing them, and they really last for a long time. So he just loved them so much he wanted to get more. And since he heard that I can knit socks, he was like, "I would really like a pair." And I said, "Yeah, but do you know it's super expensive?" And he was like, "I don't care, it's okay if I can keep them for the rest of my life. I'm fine with paying $100 to get a pair of socks." And I was like, "Okay, nice." I will try to find a spot for you to knit your socks. So yeah, that was cute and fun. So I will probably be knitting a pair for him in the not too distant future. And yeah, that was again a funny moment where both of my passions kind of met together at a very random spot. But yeah, anyway. So I think that's it for today. I'm still in love with my sweater. Anyway, I'm gonna stop there. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you find time to knit on the stuff you want to knit on. And yeah, happy knitting, happy rest of your day, and see you next time. Bye!
Yannick, plus à droite.
Ah, mais bien plus à droite. Hein. Allez, Maya!